into the chaos. Sonic the Hedgehog is probably one of my favorite video game series. I've been playing it ever since I was a kid, and I've always enjoyed it. I kind of thought it was a game series that everybody enjoyed because, you know, Sonic is popular. And yeah, I just always thought, Sonic's cool, Sonic's good. But then, recently, well, not really recently anymore, about like 5 or 6 years ago, I started realizing that people didn't really enjoy Sonic as much as I did. Or really as much as they say they do. Like, I started looking at other people's reviews on the games, and they just were all, like, bad reviews, or just not the best ones. And I didn't really understand why. Like, their reasonings just didn't make any sense. So now, I'm doing this video, finally. And there's also a fan request, so I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. Something I want to do, something a fan wants. So now in this video I'm going to talk about how Sonic is judged unfairly, and why it doesn't make any sense to judge the series this way.
So basically, as far as I can tell, there's 3 types of Sonic fans. There's the classic fans, who basically only enjoy the classic games, and slightly enjoy the new modern games. At least Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations. Basically, if you know about Pokemon, they're the Gen 1ers of Sonic. Then you got the Adventure era fans. These fans like the adventure games. I think they enjoy the classic games, but they don't really enjoy the modern games at all. And then you have the fans who like a range between every Sonic game. They can enjoy all Sonic games, or they can just randomly like individual Sonic games, not based off which era they're in, but rather based on how the game individually functions. Me personally, I basically like all Sonic games. And as someone who likes classic, adventure, Dark Age, and modern Sonic games, I think I know what I'm talking about when I say Sonic games are judged unfairly. The 2 supposedly worst Sonic games, Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom, are games I can understand being known as bad Sonic games. While Sonic 06 is definitely my favorite Sonic game, it still has unreasonable loading time and it does have glitches. Although I think that people over-exaggerate those glitches, it's still enough for me to consider a bad Sonic game, or at least not a good one. I even see a lot of people nowadays kind of look back on Sonic 06 and realize that it's not as bad as people were making it out to be. Yes, it's a bad game, but it's not so terrible that it's completely unplayable, has no enjoyment in it whatsoever. Although Sonic Boom is a different story, I don't really think that this has any redeeming qualities to it, and I don't think anyone else found any either. This is basically the only game that deserves as much hate as it gets. But except for those 2 Sonic games, I have rarely seen anyone make a valuable claim into why any other Sonic game is deemed as a bad game, let alone one of the worst games in the series. In fact, every Dark Era Sonic game has the same complaints. Bad graphics, additional gameplay, additional characters, optional gameplay, the story, guns, stage layout, anytime the character has to stop at any point, anytime you move and you're not in control, and my most favorite one, glitches. I'm just gonna say this right now, the Dark Era of Sonic is probably the best era of Sonic. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the Dark Era of Sonic starts in 2005 and ends at 2010. But some people claim it starts in the Adventure Era, because they just don't think those games are good for some reason. And I'm including the adventure games in the Dark Era of Sonic, since the only complaints people ever make about them are the same ones that they would make about a Dark Era Sonic game. Such as bad graphics. Even though the Adventure Era Sonic games have graphics just as good as other games made in that time. But those games don't claim to have bad graphics. I mean, yeah, people say they age poorly, but they don't ever use that as a way to say that the game is bad. But for Sonic, for some reason, that is the case. Like, if you look at Mario 64's graphics, they obviously don't look the best, and yet people will claim that Mario 64 is one of the best games of all time. I made a lot of comparisons like this in Judge Like a Sonic Game videos, so you should probably go check those out. But some points I made in that video is how Mario is a platformer, but when he jumped into 3D, he became more of a collector's game. But when Sonic jumped into 3D, he kept his platforming and left the collecting to Knuckles' gameplay. Even though Sonic stuck to his roots more than Mario did, people still complain that Sonic isn't the same anymore. But instead of comparing Sonic games to other franchises, let's compare Sonic games to Sonic games. For some reason, people who praise the classic era games have double standards, because one of the things they praise the classic games for is being able to explore the stage and find different routes. And yet, when it comes to exploring in 3D games, it somehow becomes a problem. Yeah, you're not exploring for different routes, but exploring is exploring either way. So it doesn't really make any sense to praise the classic games for having exploring stages, and yet when it comes to something like Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2, they hate the Knuckles stages because they're not fast-paced and have action. Which isn't true, by the way. You can have a lot of fast-paced action in the hunting stages if you know the layout of the stage. The same thing that you would do in any classic game. You know the layout of the stage, then you can have more fast-paced action. Another complaint I hear about games that aren't classic ones are the fact that if Sonic stops at all, it somehow becomes a bad game or a bad stage layout. Even though this is definitely something that happens in the classic games. A very obvious one is in Marble Zone, where you have to push stones to get across the lava. There are at least 2 parts in Marble Zone where you have to wait 4 seconds to push a stone into the lava. And there's another part where you have to ride on it so that you can get blasted up to the next part of the stage. And in Spring Yard Zone, you have to go down these slow-moving platforms. And then when it comes to Labyrinth Zone, it's basically all about slow movement, because you're in the water 90% of the time. And yeah, people acknowledge that this is a bad stage of the game, but this is 1/6 of the game. If you add up the 2 other zones that I just previously said has slow parts in it, then that means only 1/2 of the original Sonic is actually fast-paced action. This is close to 1/3, which is what people say is the only amount of fun you can have in Sonic Adventure 2. Because only 1/3 of the game is Sonic and Shadow stages. At least I heard some people make this claim. And you see how ignorant of a claim that is. You just see some part of the game and just instantly mark it off as not good just because you're not good at that part, or because it's not completely fast-paced. Another claim people make is that there's too much automation in adventure-era games. And in modern Sonic games, you just push dash to win. But you could argue the same thing in the classic games. You can push down for a large portion of the stages and just have Sonic move forward. So you just push down to win, and then everything else is automated. There's a bunch of sections where you don't even have to push anything, and the game just does it for you. It's been in Sonic since the very beginning, but when it comes to games that aren't classic, for some reason people think it's not supposed to be there. I don't understand why that's a thing. And when it comes to glitches, yes, the classic games do have glitches. I see them all the time when I'm playing through the classic games. Everywhere. In fact, all games have glitches. There are channels completely dedicated to finding glitches in video games. More often than not, every game has multiple glitches in it that range from being hard to pull off or easy to pull off. For some reason though, Sonic games, or should I say Dark Era Sonic games that have glitches, seem to make the game unplayable or completely terrible. Any other game? No, it's alright. They're fun to do. They're cool. Classic games? Don't even bring them up. They're perfect. They don't have glitches. But Dark Era Sonic games? Modern Sonic games? Bad. Terrible. Worst game ever. Why is there a glitch in my game? This game is unplayable. For some reason. I don't understand. Heck, even the newest Mario game, Mario Odyssey, a game that everyone loves and think is one of the best games ever, has plenty of glitches in it. I literally just saw a video of someone showing a whole bunch of glitches. But that doesn't factor into how good Mario Odyssey is for some reason. But for Sonic Heroes, Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic 06, all games that are hated for because of glitches. Now, I do realize that glitches can indeed make a game bad, but it just seems to be random whether people decide that the game is bad based off the glitches or not. I mean, Mario 64 has a glitch that literally lets you beat the game without collecting any of the required stars, basically, and yet it's still known as a very great Mario game. If Sonic had a glitch that sent them to the end of the stage and beat the game, guess what? Worst Sonic game ever. I don't know when people start to decide when a glitch breaks the game or just shouldn't really account for the game's playability. It seems that if Sonic has a glitch, that's when it counts as a bad game. Anyone else? No, it's fine. By the way, here's some glitches I found while playing through the classic Sonic games.
Hold on, because I hit this boss 38 times and I think the game
So
is
yeah,
glitched,
as you can see, classic Sonic games definitely have glitches in them. And I was not trying to do any of these glitches at all. They just happened while I was playing through the game. Also, they complain about combat that's ever shown in any Sonic game. They complain about additional characters, they complain about the story, they complain just about anything a Sonic game has to offer. Even though it's present in the classic games, Sonic has not changed from his classic days. Like when it comes to the story, yeah, it wasn't as in your face as the classic games, but the story was still there. A pretty complex one too. The fact that Knuckles is from an ancient civilization that guards the Master Emerald is no different than any other ancient being that might exist. Sonic having other characters to play as has been present since Sonic 2, and it always made the game better. This is why the Dark Age of Sonic is actually the best era of Sonic. Because it takes what the classics had and just puts it into a 3D perspective, and gives more personality to the characters, because it's able to do that. It gives more action for the player to go through, because it's able to do that. It advances in all areas of the classic games, and adds more to it. The reason why the modern Sonic games aren't the best ones is because they try to return Sonic to a form which was never him. They single out Sonic as the sole main hero, even though he was only that in the original Sonic game. They also try to put as little story as possible, even though the more Sonic grew as a series, the more story that was presented. In fact, if modern Sonic games weren't influenced by people's ignorant claims that Dark Era Sonic games are bad, they could actually be some of the best Sonic games. Take Sonic Forces for example. That game is just a whole bunch of missed opportunity. There's a whole bunch of stuff that seemed to be cut or just absent for the sole purpose that people would probably complain about them. Sonic Lost World introduced the Deadly Six and they were only given personalities that were one-dimensional. They could have had so much more development had it probably not been influenced by people's claims that Sonic isn't supposed to have a story. At any moment the story tried to do something interesting, it usually just backtracked on it because they probably were afraid that people wouldn't like a complex story in a Sonic game. And all the modern Sonic games lack from having other Sonic characters be involved in the story, because it just doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't be doing anything. They just sit in the background making statements of how they could do this themselves, but never actually do it. Like, the complaints I hear about the Sonic games are either things that were already present in classic Sonic games or things that just aren't true to begin with. Any real complaints that someone can make about these Sonic games are things that they could have improved on in a sequel. Like, maybe Sonic Heroes got the controls a little wrong, so in Sonic Heroes 2 they could have had something better. But that never happened. Anytime Sonic had a game with a good idea, they kind of just changed it up. Which always did lead to a good Sonic game in my eyes, But they could have made such better games if they didn't change up the formula every single time. Which is something that's more of Sega's fault, I would say, instead of just the fans. But if Sega listens to their fans like it seems like they're doing, then the fans are to blame too. I know everyone has their own opinions, but it doesn't make any sense to me that you could hate a game for one reason, but like another game for the same thing. Especially if it's in the same series. Like, the only thing I could say was introduced in a Sonic game that didn't really belong would probably be the Werehog, since it is a drastic difference between normal gameplay that Sonic has. It's mostly based on combat and exploring large areas, but you're moving slow while doing it. Although they could improve this by lessening the combat and improving the Werehog speed, if they were to ever use the Werehog again. But as it stands, the Werehog is probably the biggest thing that was ever introduced into a Sonic game. So that's basically the video. The only thing I want people to do is to give Sonic games a fair chance and actually give fair judgments to them. I don't want to hear complaints that Sonic is I don't want to hear complaints about Sonic being stopped at a certain point in a stage and say that it's bad game design or Sonic's not supposed to be stopping or something like that. Anything like that. Those complaints just don't make any sense because they've been in Sonic since the very beginning. So unless you never liked Sonic to begin with, these complaints don't make any sense. And it also doesn't make any sense why you'd be claiming you're a Sonic fan anyways.